and welcome to Retro Spectrum, the podcast where we listen to a ton of music and then chat about it.
This week, we have gone through the entire full 3-album discography of the Distillers.
Woo! This week, we also have our very first special guest from the band, Esther Shank, and my sibling, Car.
Yeah, they offer a lot of unique kind of perspective and history on, their view on the band. And it was really fun to get to, you and I go way back, and I go just as far back with Car too. So it was really fun catching up and getting to hear somebody else kind of share their perspective outside of just the two of us. And I had a lot of fun with that.
We like to hear from people who also like the band too.
All right, here we go. The Distillers. How you feel about the headband vibe?
I love it. I need one.
Really need to get a haircut too. Might add that into my boring regular ass day today.
Sunday. Yeah.
But you know what wasn't boring?
What?
Going to see Pup last night.
You've told me to listen to them a bunch of times, but I haven't really given it my all.
You should, definitely. Are
you going to choose them as one of our bands?
No, they don't have enough albums, and they haven't been around long enough, I don't think, to really qualify. They are a band that you should listen to. They're consistent. Everything that they've done is really good. But they had similar energy and vibes to Less Than Jake, except at that show, the crowd was all our age, and this one was a pretty good mix of that and college kids, kids that were way
Well, they're a newer band,
younger.
Right?
I mean, yeah, they've been around for almost 10 years, so not really. I kept thinking their new stuff versus our old stuff, or I was really thinking man, they're the best new band that I've heard, and then it was they're not really new. They're new in the context of came out since I was in high school, but
yeah, I guess that's what I mean by new, because
yeah, exactly. It's not really new. I mean, they've got 5 albums.
Yeah, I've listened to a few of their songs when you've suggested it in the past, but nothing.
Well, they just have that they have that kind of snotty, tongue-in-cheek. Their lyrics are clever and kind of funny, and also dark. They sing about dark stuff, but they do it in a funny way, which I mean, I know is.
I love that.
Yeah, that's ideal. At the show last night, they came out and played their first song, and before they really started playing, they were like, "Hey, we're Pup. Everybody turn to your left. Everybody turn to your right. Say what's up to the person next to you. You're going to spend the next hour rocking out with them. Everybody be cool. Everybody be friends. If somebody falls down, make some space, pick them up. If it looks like somebody's uncomfortable, give them their space. Let them do their thing. Everybody's here to enjoy themselves. Don't mess up somebody else's time. Are you guys ready to have fun?" It really was. It was a nice everybody cool? Everybody cool? Okay, let's do it.
You better be fucking cool.
They stopped the show. They stopped the show at one point in the middle of one of the songs, and they were like, "Hey, these guys right here, are you guys cool? Is everything okay?" Because I guess it was getting a little
rowdy,
aggressive. But they were like, "Hey, this is a Pup show. We're nice, and you guys have to be nice to each other." Which I thought was, I was like, that's good to see. It wasn't just aggro.
I fucking love that.
People trying to hurt each other or whatever.
Anytime a punk band does that, that's really admirable to me. That's the way it's supposed to fucking be. I feel like people get confused to what punk is.
Yeah, actually giving a shit about the people next to you and your community and the other human beings that are involved.
Speaking of other human beings that are involved, here's Car. So, well, Car, first off, who are you? What do you do?
I am your sibling.
A musician.
I do many things. I'm a musician. I carve wood. I make soap. I cut hair. Talk a lot of shit.
that's the most spent the most time on that.
I need some help. Before you leave, I need you to come up here and do something with this.
I'm loving the headband look.
Thank you. Honestly, I got it as a joke, and then I wore it, and then I was like, "Oh my god, this is incredible! Why am I not wearing this all the time?"
You should just shave your head.
I shaved my head in 4th grade, and swore to myself that I would never do it again. I was like, it was a very emotionally traumatic experience. A little
Not
tiny,
bad, huh?
skinny, pale, very pale white kid with a shaved head. Like I looked like I was in some sort of medical situation. And I think it's made me self-conscious of that idea for the whole rest of my life.
Oh no!
So,
I gotta
I
see a
could, I
picture of
guess,
this.
but I don't want to have nightmares about sitting on the bench in basketball being made fun of.
I need a picture of this little shaved head boy. So, Car, what's your background with the Distillers?
Background with the Distillers. That's kind of my childhood happy place, my teenage happy place.
It's such happy music that really tracks.
We had a really happy childhood.
Well,
so
hear me out. Hear me out. While Holly was like listening to Brand New and Bright Eyes and crying, I was like, I'm already so fucking depressed and want to kill myself that I need like upbeat punk music, or
Yeah.
I will be dead.
Yeah.
So it was like Rancid, Distillers, Op Ivy, all that shit.
I'm not liking the way I'm portrayed in this story. I listened to all those punk bands also. I did not just sit around listening to Brand New and Bright Eyes, which are two drastically different bands.
Okay. I just remember sitting in the car with you in the Chrysler Sebring on the way to school, just fearing for my life while you're blasting Brand New or something.
Driving 85 on the potholed streets and the dirt roads of Caddo.
Listen, I did not drive 85 on the way to school. It's only like 3 blocks away. But I did probably blast Brand New on the way to school, because when I did drive that Chrysler Sebring, the Deja and Tindu album came out that year, and I listened to that in the Sebring a lot.
What a year.
What a year for the sads.
Well, what year did the first Distillers album come out? Like 2000? Wait, no.
Okay. I think it was 2000.
Yeah, how did you find out about it? I mean, being from a small town, that's not like they toured anywhere nearby or
I remember.
Nice. We never
Do you remember
this.
the show on Fuel? Wait, well, okay. There's like 3 bands that I discovered on Fuel TV, Fuel TV, and there was this show called Split, and like half of it was extreme sports and the other half was music videos. And I'm pretty sure the Distillers was one of those bands.
That makes sense.
That does make sense.
But yeah, it was what was that video called? Now I have to know. It was on Sing Sing Death House. The Young Crazed Peeling was the first music video I ever saw of theirs, and I was like, "Ooh, yeah, that."
I'm gonna have to go watch them.
Was it more appealing on like a sound basis or like a visuals, or was it a mix of the two things?
It was definitely a mix of the two things, but definitely visually caught my eye first. I don't know. They all just she's got like Liberty spikes in the video and just looks like super insanely punk rock. I remember sitting like in the computer lab or whatever at school and getting on Yahoo and just watching like old punk music videos like forever. That's pretty much all I did in high school. I didn't do math. So.
But you remember all the old punk bands and songs.
But I know who Agent Orange is.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Tsunami Bomb, I know like 6 of their songs.
But what skill do you use more in life? Music knowledge or math?
Yeah. We don't math.
I do not math. That might be why I have no money, but I don't math. I do love music though. I don't have any recollection of when I first heard them. Probably on TV too.
To me, they're just lumped in with they're lumped in with the punk rock bands from when I was a kid that were like too hardcore for me. Like I know
really
I'm not a tough guy. Yeah, well, like all the like Rancid and like tattoos and leather jackets and studs.
I don't even think of Rancid and Distillers as like hardcore at all. Because to
The
me, it's
look
like happy. You can sing
hardcore.
along. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but compared to the stuff that I did listen to, that was like Drive Through Records, SoCal.
You were more of a pop
like
punk
bleach
kid.
blonde hair. Yeah, and they were more like I don't know, like more angry, I guess. or at least came across that way, and definitely looked like, you see the videos of the pit where people are trying to like punch each other and stuff. Like you would see more of that at their shows. It was a little intimidating to me, and the Distillers were kind of in that category, and they're definitely more abrasive than a lot of punk rock. And I've never liked the way Tim Armstrong sings, and that's mirrored pretty closely in the Distillers as well. It was like I heard it, but it was just kind of easy for me to write off. So I never really went too far down that road. Like I was never a tattooed Liberty Spikes sort of kid,
Oh, she's the reason I had to pierce my lip when I was 18.
I'm pretty sure she was the reason that I had the exact same mohawk as her, like with the bangs.
That checks out. Yep, sideburns.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw that. It might not have been her. It might have been a picture of an old punk rocker, but that seeing her with it definitely made me go, I could fucking rock that hairdo, So I remember the year 2000, the New Year's Eve of the year 2000. Do you remember, Car, that I had a New Year's Eve party?
Oh, I could never forget. Yeah, with the Millennium Monopoly.
Car was there because, we lived in the same house, so there was really no choice. And we played Monopoly 2000 and watched Prince singing 1999 over and over on. And that was the same year that this Distillers album.
Were you guys worried about Y2K?
No.
Well, that wasn't on the table at the Taylor household.
We didn't really have that much access to that much technology, so wasn't Y2K more about technology?
All our computers are going to break.
I remember when people would talk about shit like that and get all like spooked. Like I remember getting this like icky feeling in my stomach and being like, "Am I supposed to be nervous about something? Like, what's gonna happen? Is the world ending? Like, what is Y2K?"
I'm sure we'll find out.
Meanwhile, like none of us even have cell phones.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, we were practically children. So let's see. 2002 is when the next one came out. Then 2003. Then they didn't put out an album until 2020 or 2021.
And that was that.
Wow.
That live album, right?
2021, Live in Lockdown. Have you listened to that, Car?
Live in Lockdown.
Actually, I feel like we watched it. Did we watch that together?
Wait, was this the Christmas one?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming the cover's the Christmas tree and the wolves.
Yeah. And it was like Krampus was like introing them.
At home.
I feel like I watched it with you. Is that possible?
Listen, this is like one of my favorite bands forever and always, but I didn't really enjoy that show.
I didn't either. And the album is okay.
Do you think it's because they're like older now and some of the like grit is gone from it? Because I read some interviews with her where she's like, she had to like chill out on singing, like screaming quite as much because she had some nodes on her vocal cords. And so she had to like, I can't go as hard. I wonder if
they go fucking hard at the live shows normally. Like we saw them. When was that?
Or was it at Granada?
Yeah.
I don't remember when. So I think I've only seen her twice live. But no, I remember seeing her at Curtain Club and she just, I don't know. I wonder if I look like this when I play live because it's like angry, emotional music, but it's like she just looks so chill and almost a little bit bored when she's performing it. And I'm just like, man, you don't want to be here, do you? It's like, it gives those vibes anyways.
You guys want to dive into the origin of the band? You want to start at the beginning and kind of work our way?
Well, let's get into it because I gotta be at a going away party for myself in 1 hour.
Let's do it. Okay, so what do you guys know about the start of this band? Because this is like, to me, this band, the music is good. I'm gonna be contrarian during this just for fun, but I like the music. I don't have any issues with it.
I fucking love it
in reality. But to me, for this band, all of the like personal drama and like behind the scenes stuff and all the relationship stuff is more interesting to me than the music. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, okay. It definitely makes sense as a dude too, I feel like. But
I just feel like there's more to talk about with all that stuff than there is about like this song sounds like this. I mean, all the songs kind of sound similar.
I could talk about the music all fucking day because I love this band.
Okay, well, you guys talk about the music. I'll talk about the. I'll be the True Hollywood Stories.
I fucking love this band so much. Like re-listening to it, it made me so happy. I love every single fucking album. Every album is so good.
This is a story that I always heard that always says, like, I just have a weird feeling about a lot of the stuff in the band. She met Tim Armstrong when Rancid was on tour in Australia when she was 16. And she told Tim Armstrong that she was 19 and, you know, whatever. They were talking while they were on tour. And then he moved back to the States and I guess they stayed in touch. And whenever she did turn 18 or 19 or whatever, he brought her to LA to come live with him. And then they ended up getting married when he was like in his 30s and she was 18 or 19 or whatever. So like that has always kind of like, ooh, you know what I mean? It's just always kind of skeezed me out a little bit about Tim Armstrong and Rancid.
It's a little Predator
that
vibes.
Has anything to do with her. But then for him to bring her over here and then she starts a punk band and then it sounds like very similar to Rancid. Like it has always felt a little bit like some amount of nepotism there, or like you kind of have the inside line.
Wasn't she doing music before him though?
I think it's so funny how I can just like compartmentalize all this shit and I can have like two of my most favorite bands on the planet, but I can also like not know anything about like the origin or whatever. I didn't know that they were married. I didn't know how they met or when they met. I kind of remember how they met, but like I can have this favorite band but not care to like look into any of that. I'm just like happy just listening to the songs, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And that's part of what doing this podcast has been interesting about is like, yeah, you listen to the music, but once you start to get like a feel for the backstory of everything and kind of the context for it, it adds another layer of, I don't know, intrigue or at least interest for me, like learning all the drama at the recording studios or who was in what band and why did they split up and all that stuff. Like it's been really fun digging into that side of it too, in addition to the music. Just recently,
I played a show in Houston pretty recently with this punk band from OKC actually, and they were so wild. It was like they were so old, and the singer would stand behind the drummer, which was his girlfriend, I think, was the drummer in front. Anyways, I can't remember their name, but the old guy came to me after and he was like, "You really remind me of the Gits," but he had like a speech impediment and I could not for the life of me understand what band he was saying, but I finally got it and it was the Gits. And then I listened to them and she sounds a lot like this girl from the Gits. Have you guys ever listened to them?
I know the name, but I can't recall.
But yeah, and I hate to be like, oh, she was with this guy, so she's obviously like influenced by his music, and then like she ends up with Josh Homme or whatever, and like her sound totally changes or whatever. I hate saying that about, especially like female artists with the man that makes the music, like being influenced by them. But she has had like drastically different sounds throughout the last handful of years, I feel like. Well, okay, she had a solo album, I think just one, and then she did Spinneret. That band, Spinneret. Did you listen to that at all?
I only listened to the Distillers, so I didn't listen to any of that. So her other projects sound like what, like Queens of the Stone Age, kind of?
Not necessarily, no, but I think it was around the time that like they got together, and then it just went a totally different direction. It sounds very different. It's
well, you know, getting inspired by people happens to literally everyone, and the only people who ever get called out about it is the chicks. So I totally feel you on what you're saying about like not calling chicks out about it.
Like that.
Yeah, totally. I agree.
Right.
And didn't she play music before they met?
She didn't do anything before they met. She was 16.
We played music when we were 16.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want that used as a... Yes, I think there was some band.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she played music before she met him. So it's not like meeting him created her.
Okay, and also, punk rock is not the most diverse sounding.
Right. So the fact that they sound kind of similar.
Okay, I agree with all of that stuff. And I feel bad about it. Like even bringing that up, except for the fact that in interviews and like in retrospective and stuff, she's like, yeah, I was trying to sing like him. Like she has admitted to basically using his same, or like being like heavily influenced by it. And then it's talked about like as the albums continue, that influence kind of tapers off and she becomes.
Like I said, literally everyone is influenced by the person that they're dating. It's like a muse type situation a lot of the time if you're a fucking artist. And like I said before, that's only chicks are the ones getting called out about it. My fucking ex used the fuck
that's why all
out
my
of my
songs
art.
are so angry.
Dude, yes. Because you're pissed off at all your girlfriends.
No, we'll say inspired by.
But nobody fucking says anything about that. Everybody probably thinks that I ripped him off or something, you know? He literally started saying his favorite band was the B-52s. You know what I mean? Like every time you date someone, you're going to take some things from them, even if it's not on purpose. And we only ever talk about it when it's women. Like the Courtney Love Nirvana situation, that was like the exact same thing with Tim Armstrong and Brody Dahl. Like, people won't shut the fuck up about how Hole is just a Nirvana ripoff and all this shit, which I fucking disagree. Like, I see some similarities there, but Hole and Courtney Love, she's doing her own fucking thing. That's completely separate from Kurt Cobain in my eyes.
I feel like Brody's probably super influenced by her too. I mean, they like record together, or was that Shirley Manson? She did something with Shirley Manson,
yeah,
for sure. But
yeah, I think her solo album she brought in. I don't know if Courtney Love was one of those people, but I know she brought in Shirley Manson and a couple of other people that were like, you know, iconic female artists from the past decades or whatever.
But yeah, I always thought she sounded like Courtney Love, but I mean, they're just deep, raspy motherfuckers. So
And pissed.
Oh yeah, we mad.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons to be.
I think that inarguably that influence is very, 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 very heavy on the first album. I do think it gets less and less on the second and third.
I agree.
And by Coral Fang, it's really its own. Like, she's doing much more of her own thing by that point.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one, man, like, right,
Coral
even
Fang's
the, that has
one.
the little lyric genius or whatever that's saying, writing the lyrics while you're listening to it. It's like, that's not what she's saying. I don't know who typed that in, but that's not the words that are coming out of her mouth.
There are like, she definitely does the punk rock thing where it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they were just drunk recording the entire time.
No hard consonants anywhere in there. Everything is just.
But that's funny because that's kind of how Tim sounded. But does Tim have a speech impediment?
I don't know. But
I
I've
don't know
never
what's
asked
going
that
on
question
with
before.
Tim
Yes, he does. Something is going on.
What I think might be going on is heavy drug use, being possibly a predator. I don't know if that's a factor in his speech impediment, but there's some things going on with Tim that I don't know about that. I mean, just like seeing a 16-year-old at a show. Can you imagine, Car, right now, if a 16-year-old girl was at your show being like into that at all? You'd be like, ew, no, 16, no.
Oh God, dudes are a different story, I guess. I don't know. That's fucking weird. Even like 28-year-olds look like children to me now. Like,
yeah,
exactly.
I don't think that he would disagree with that. I think that was part of the appeal. You know what I mean?
See,
like, I don't think he was like, no, she was really mature. It's like, no,
that's just no good.
I don't know. That's always creeped me out about him. And it's also weird that it's just like, yeah, that happened. Everybody knows about it. It's cool. It's whatever. It's punk rock. You know. It's like,
no, it's not. Actually, punk rock is supposed to be all about consent and being anti-fascist and shit.
Well, so in their, I told you I was going to be the E-True Hollywood stories. In their relationship, because I've read interviews and stories, and a lot of this was in that Sellout book that we read, that had the chapter on the Distillers in it. Apparently, he was
really
very
like that book.
Yeah, you definitely need to read it. But apparently, he was like very controlling and like controlled who she could be friends with and where she could go and what she could do and all that stuff. And so it was also like, you bring this child over to marry you and then you control every aspect of their life. Like, it does make sense why the Distillers music is so angry. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a lot of pent up aggression there.
Well, and the imagery in the lyrics is very dark.
Yes, definitely. Especially, I think Coral Fang kind of takes that.
Yes, and that's my favorite one.
It's my favorite album for sure.
It's so fucking
so good.
And usually, you know, a lot of the time, like punk bands, you're like, no, their first album, whatever. Nah, Coral Fang is the best one.
Totally. I think Sing Sing Death House was the first one that I heard.
Yeah.
It's definitely the first one that I bought.
It was like the
I started with that one. And
the first most popular
went back
one.
To the first one.
Yeah,
and then
same.
Coral Fang just blew my fucking mind.
See, I didn't know any off of the. Maybe I knew one or two tracks I'd heard before off of the self-titled, but it definitely sounds like a debut album. You know what I mean? It's a little rougher. It's a little more raw. It's a little more,
but still very good.
Even the like lyrics and stuff. It's good. No, it's not bad, but it does sound like the least produced out of the three of them. I only took one note on this whole band. At the end of the first album, the self-titled album, she sings the phrase "I'm going home" over and over and over again, but she says like "hey" at the end of it or whatever. I swear to God, it sounds like she's saying "I'm going home" over and over and over again, which is so funny to me because she left Tim Armstrong for Josh Homme. And so I was just listening to that. I was like, hey, that's funny.
I never. That's fucking weird. Like that gives me the creeps.
That is so funny because maybe this is some punk rock witchcraft. Okay, maybe she
manifested this.
I got chills, but like not the good kind.
Me too.
Literally the only thing that I was like, I have to make sure I say this in the course of the podcast.
That's so funny. I love that she does that, and now I'll never hear it the same or probably
that's so funny because I didn't even pick that up because I like have Brody speak in my brain where I understand her. Like I totally fucking understand what she's saying. Like something about her voice I can comprehend. So I did not pick that up at all.
Yeah. But seriously, it's like 20 times at the end of the very last song on the album. And I was like, okay,
she
good
put
luck.
A spell
I hope that works out for you.
It didn't, right? Didn't they break up?
That did not work out.
Yeah, no, it did not. We'll get to that, though.
Bummer.
Okay, so Sing Sing Death House is up next.
So good.
You said you bought that one, Car?
Yeah, that was the first one I ever got my hands on, and it's so fucking good, and it's so just pissed off sounding.
On every album, there's only like 1 or 2 weak songs, and all the rest are fucking going hard. Dude.
Totally.
Like I enjoy every song on every album.
This is definitely one of those bands that like I feel like they could do no wrong. Like I don't think there's a song of theirs that I dislike. And I only have like 5 bands like that.
Yeah.
What are the rest?
Nirvana. The Kills. The Kills can do whatever the fuck they want ever, and it'll be cool and sound badass. I think Courtney Barnett can do whatever the fuck she ever wants, and I will love it. Like no matter the style or.
Did you listen to her album with Kurt Vile?
I heard quite a bit of it. Yeah.
That's the one to me where it's like, okay, yeah, you guys you can do anything. You just do whatever you want.
We'll just listen. Y'all are just both. Yeah.
They're just in the studio playing, and it sounds very much like they're just in the studio playing, and it's like, oh no, this is great too. It's all great.
Yeah, dickheads. It's so good.
yeah, like without even trying. It feels like
Courtney Barnett and Kurt Vile.
Courtney Barnett was really fun the other night.
I mean,
you went and saw Courtney Barnett?
Yeah, bitch.
Yeah, like last Wednesday.
How did you not tell me about this? She's like one of my favorite artists, and you're just dropping this on me?
I didn't know she was one of your favorite artists, but
you didn't know she was one of mine either.
Yeah, I did, because you talk about her to me. But I don't know that Isaiah's ever talked to her about me, or talked to me about her.
You've never asked.
So I like have heard the name Courtney Barnett a bunch, but I've only listened to like a few songs that I was aware of. And then the other 2 bands I didn't think I knew. What was the first band called?
I don't remember. I couldn't even make out the text on their banner. Like they said it. I was staring at it.
It was a chick's name. It was like Souza, something de Souza. Indigo de Souza is what it was.
Something
that's
the text was like Old English. All 3 bands were fucking incredible.
It was in cursive. It was illegible.
It was so
I see that you spent time in
Times
the
New
chat
Roman
rooms instead of learning how to read. That's what didn't read, didn't math. Watched a shitload of Distillers videos. So.
Although, you'd think you'd be able to decode old English because a lot of punk rock tattoos are in that font.
Distillers, yeah.
As a matter of fact, the Distillers
logo.
Literally, it's like Lars Fredrickson in the Bastards. If they have any of those letters, I got it. Yes, but it's outside of that, I'm lost.
It's just shape recognition. It's not letters.
Oh my god! So Indigo De Souza, Wet Leg, and Courtney Barnett.
Wet Leg.
You saw Wet Leg too? What show was this?
It was so fucking good. So I didn't even know it was happening. Car didn't even fucking tell me because they just had their own thing going on. Y'all had your own tickets and shit. But I just happened to be down hanging out, and Emily was like, "Hey, I got an extra ticket. Do you want to come to this?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" And she was like, "Yeah, Car and Nader are coming too." I was like, "Fuck yeah, that sounds great." And I didn't know what I was in for, but it was an incredible show.
That pisses me off so much.
It was so fucking
good. The lighting for Courtney Barnett was so fucking cool. It was so simple,
dude,
but it was so fucking cool.
That's the best lighting design I've ever seen on a show.
The way that like her music is so like volume controlled and like so chill, but so like amped up and like wild at the same time is just like that's to me like what the Kills do. Yeah. Just that control the entire way through.
Did she play so, like, solo at the same time? Or with the band?
She had a drummer and a bass player.
Cool.
Some long-haired guys that don't matter. I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm there.
Kurt Vile Jr.'s. Kurt Vile Light.
Yeah, she was
okay.
fucking great.
Courtney Barnett, you saw Wet Leg also?
So fucking good, dude.
This
and
is
I
like
didn't know that I knew
lineup.
Wet Leg.
This is such a good show.
I didn't know that I knew them. And then the last song they played was the Shays Lounge one. And I know that song. And so I was like, oh my God, I do know this band. And I got all excited and I was dancing around. I'm a Shays Lounge, I'm a Shays Lounge, I'm a Shays Lounge, I'm a Shays Lounge. Good stuff.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Cool.
So I don't know what got us into that.
But
I don't know what got us into that.
I didn't know that you had seen. We're talking about Courtney Barnett.
I was saying they can do no wrong, and I only have a handful of artists that are like that, and Courtney Barnett's one of them.
What were your other ones? Courtney Barnett?
Sing Death House. Oh, Amanda Palmer. 100%.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Have you heard the Amanda Palmer, Jack Palmer split that they did? The one she did with her dad? The album she recorded with her dad?
No.
I just bought a copy of it the other day because they had it in like the $2 bin at Guest Room.
Is it so good?
It's good. It's kind of like it's folk music. Like they're both folk music, or they're doing folk music covers and stuff. And her dad has like this really rich baritone voice that mixes with hers in a really interesting way.
I can totally see me and you doing a cover album with Dad in the future, just like that.
Hang on. She has a dad?
Yeah, I know. All of her music would point in the other direction.
Okay, cut that out for sure. that joke has got to go. That's the worst one yet.
Come on, that was pretty solid.
Yeah, just
rude. That's just plain rude.
Here
I mean, to be fair, like we do too, and I think we're more fucked up than she probably is.
Most def. Anyway, back to the Distillers.
Sing Death House, 10 out of 10, top to bottom, great songs.
Literally,
any standout tracks for either of you? Not all of them, like
literally all of them.
Yes,
I mean, City of Angels was my favorite when I was a kid,
and that was a really big one, right? That one had a video and stuff.
That was like
the single.
Yeah,
that was on Tony Hawk, I think.
The single, and then the Young Craze Peeling was the other music video. It looks like they've got a couple more music videos on this record, but those were, I think, the two main hits from this one. But yeah, City of Angel, I like learned it on guitar. It's in my bedroom floor.
Sick of It All and Young Girl. You didn't mention those, and those are two of my favorites from that album. One of my favorites from the first album is Gypsy Rose Lee. I love that song.
So I read in an interview with her, she was talking about there was this review in the Village Voice of the first album, and the reviewer wrote a bunch of stuff talking about how her lyrics didn't make any sense and you couldn't understand what she was saying. And she read it and it like really hurt her feelings. And so on this album made a point to like enunciate and actually know what she was and like know what she was saying and like actually sing the lyrics of the songs. And, like,
I bet nobody ever said that about Tim.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. I think you're probably right though. That he probably gets a lot more leeway than she does.
Yeah. Our dad would across the board be like, I can't understand it. He says that after he watches your band play. I just wish I could understand what they were saying.
That's so weird to me. I've always been so much more into the music than the lyrics.
Yeah, that's how I am too.
Pretty much with every band I've ever listened to.
I think that's how most people are.
So when people say that about me and my lyrics, I'm just like, first of all, this is my art. So
that's what I tell Dad. I'm like, it's about the aesthetic and the sound. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, like, when people are like, well, I don't know any of your song titles. Like, what, you don't say what song title. And I'm like, what kind of show do you think that you're at?
You need a PowerPoint presentation behind you that's like, and
the
now
coffee shop show. Like, in this one, I wrote about my friend from the 3rd grade, and it's called Weird Girl. Like, no.
Yeah. Plus, it's
a
not
punk
like
rock show.
Yeah. Plus, you guys don't even have any recordings yet, so it's not like you could direct them.
Yeah,
to...
it's like
they're like, oh, I can remember that I like this. Later. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I don't get it.
Although I've been making that playlist when I go to live shows. I have a playlist now where I'm putting songs that they played, and I try to put 4 or 5 songs on there. And if it's a band that I haven't seen before, I'm just like, damn it, now I'm gonna have to go listen to their songs and try to remember which ones they played. And,
yeah.
PowerPoint.
What you should do is do a little voice recording on your phone, just a little tidbit of each song that you don't know. That way you can compare it later. I'm a genius. But yeah, I love the aesthetic of that you can't fully understand it. It's like you're singing. So you're saying words in a sing-songy way that's not exactly how you would say them if you're just speaking. Like, I'm sure she doesn't just speak like that. I'm sure you can understand her when she's just normally speaking. But I love the way her voice sounds and her inflections.
Yeah. I feel like Amanda Palmer is more like that. She's just reading to you.
Yeah.
You know? Angrily.
Like a spoken word cadence, you know, where it kind of has a rhythm to it, but it's not really.
Amanda Palmer does have a spoken word vibe, and I fucking hate spoken word, but I love all of her music, so. But yeah, so I have this thing where I'm really good at hearing lyrics. So I can actually listen to the Distillers or UCAR, and I can understand what you're saying for the most part.
I'm in the same boat that you are, Gar. Not that I don't care about lyrics. I wouldn't like want to find out like white supremacist lyrics in a band that I really like or whatever. That wouldn't be cool. But that's not the first thing. It takes 4 or 5 listens for me to actually start listening to what the words actually are and like what the song is about. I definitely hear it more for.
And then like it's just like an added bonus later if you're like, oh, I agree with that. That's great.
It is
or that was funny.
Yeah.
Or like, oh fuck, I can't listen to this anymore.
I feel like that's just kind of my style in general. I'm more of like a feeling kind of person. Like, and I have been told that I'm a man of few words. Like, I'm more of a vibes guy.
Yeah. Cool.
And the Distiller vibes are fucking primo.
And consistent. And they had the same vibes throughout. They're not throwing many curveballs at you. So then on to Coral Fang. I think Coral Fang is the one that's like the most different out of the 3 albums. I think this one has the most production. I think it sounds the most unique out of the other 2. I think the other 2 are pretty straightforward.
And do you remember from the book what year they broke up?
No, I think it was a year after this came out.
I thought it was when this came out. I thought this was like her breakup album. And it's so fucking good. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense. Like literally all the names, even just the names of the songs. Drain the Blood, Dismantle Me, Die on a Rope, The Gallows Is Gone. Like, what the fuck? She wants to fucking kill herself.
I write all my best songs after a breakup.
Same. They're so good. They're so good. Like, The Hunger, Love is Paranoid, For tonight, you're only here to.
This was one that I actually knew every song on this one. And I've never gotten out of my way to listen to them. Yeah, I think it was from me and you when we were kids driving around and listening to this album. But every single one was familiar. I didn't have any of the words correct to any of them. Like I had made up, filler words that sound the same but weren't the right.
Remember when your sister thought that the song that was like, oh, back bloody, bam, balam, she thought they were saying ambulance.
Yeah, that's every time I see ambulance, I still
No, I still do that with probably Distillers songs too. Yeah. Again, I'm not a lyric person, so it's just like I'm still mumbling
mouth sounds.
The wrong lyrics. Like,
so I went to that pup show last night, and I've been wearing earplugs to shows because I'm
we
want to hold on to what the last of my hearing that I have.
Exactly.
But when you have earplugs in, you can really hear yourself singing along. Yeah. And so there were some songs and I was singing along, but I was like getting distracted by hearing myself. And I was like, I don't actually know the words to this. You can't just like mumble scream because you can hear yourself not knowing the words. And so there were times I was like,
You're like, and I actually sound terrible. I'm just
exactly.
Gonna shut the fuck up now.
Yes, I know. It was a real vibe killer.
Okay. I definitely have some videos of us from Alanis Morissette show. screaming along.
Oh yeah, singing the wrong lyrics is what I was doing in that video. Or right lyrics at the wrong time, at least.
Isn't that ironic?
Don't you think? A little too ironic. Did you feel any relation to the Bikini Kill?
Oh, with the Distillers?
Yeah.
No.
I don't.
There's so many other people I would like compare her to, and
like Tim Armstrong
took influence from, and the Bikini Kill was not one of them. To me,
I actually agree with that. I also don't think they were like explicit in their message enough to pull too much from Bikini Kill. I mean, Bikini Kill is pretty straightforward with what their politics are and what their beliefs are, and a lot of Distiller stuff is about like, we're a community and we're doing this together and all that, but it's not as explicit.
Like what are you doing?
Women. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a little more abstract for sure. Yeah. Love a good vague punk rock song.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Brody seems to be like having subtle changes. Bikini Kill stays consistent as fuck. Like I think the Distillers is also consistent, but there are subtle changes that tell me she's growing, The lyrics get a little more complex over time, and the sound feels more like, I don't know if mature is the right word, but I don't know. Maybe she's missing the like really blunt message. Maybe she's doing it on purpose for aesthetics, or maybe it's just she hasn't just gotten there in her life yet, Because being picked up by a predator she's when you're fucking 16, it'll really do a number on you.
Well, yeah, it's like Bikini Kill like already has set message that they're gonna shout at you, and she's just like, you're gonna hop on this ride with me, and just like it's all about the feeling thing, like I was talking about earlier. Yeah. She's just like working through it within the album,
yes,
like
I agree.
Than like, yeah,
and that makes it complex.
Well, and they're not required to be a proto-feminist band. Of course they don't have to do that if that's not what their message is. And I just don't think that's what their message is really. But I also think I went back and read some comments on like some reviews of the first couple albums when they very first came out. The scene was not very receptive or friendly to her as a woman. I think she got a lot of really negative, really intense negative feedback from punk rockers, who are the worst group of people to try to introduce anything new to. But they didn't treat her well.
I feel like
I wonder if that's why I get this overwhelming feeling like she's just one of the guys.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's more of the vibe that she was going for, was like that, like, yeah, just one of the guys.
Well, and that's idea, a more problematic idea. That's a problematic thing, because women who are always trying to be just one of the guys end up perpetuating misogyny in the patriarchy a lot of the time, inadvertently, because they want to fit in with men, because men rule the goddamn world. And so they have to, maybe not be so good to themselves or other women to be able to fit in. I've experienced that in the past. I'm sure you have too, Car. Like, I used to get beat up by guys because I was one of the guys, right? But when you're getting thrown in a trash can by an older guy, it's like, wait, why do I want to be one of the guys? These guys fucking suck, you know? And I kind of feel like she's kind of going that route. I would love to hear more.
It's this weird, like, outside world to live in when you're, like, just kind of, I don't know, just in the middle. It's like, I am this, but I'm not this. You know, it's like you don't fit into any.
It is fucking weird, man.
Place,
Dad asked me yesterday if I was going to have a sex change. And I was like, you mean transition? They don't call it sex change anymore. And I don't want to have surgery. And also, I'm not a man. I'm in an in-between space where I would love to have my tits chopped off, but I don't want to have surgery. Like, I don't want to go through the surgery. That sounds terrible. So it is this like weird in-between area where we live where it's like just fucking awkward. Do you think she's like, I always got queer vibes from Brody.
Oh, I wish.
I know. Wouldn't it be great if she
I
came out?
So.
Do you think she's just confused?
Yeah, I don't think she's gay. I just have daydreamed about it plenty of times.
I wondered if this part of the conversation was going to come up. Part of the appeal is Brody.
She is hot as fuck.
She's one of those that she's so fucking beautiful, but like I've never liked her in that way. She's like, I want to be her. I don't want to be with her.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because like I normally don't feel like that about men, I guess.
Yeah.
But with her, she's just so fucking badass.
Maybe we're picking up on a trans non-binary type of vibe.
Beautiful, though. Shit, maybe. Who knows? Maybe we could ask her one day.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
Speaking
we'll
of which,
have her
I'm
on
going to
the
call
pod.
her real quick, and we'll get her in here.
Surprise! We're going to just beep Brody right in. It's kind of got a Bob Dylan-y kind of thing about it.
I really wanted at one point for all of us to do our best Brody impression. So
okay, go.
I did mine on the Perfect.
Just do now. I will lay for you.
Did either of you listen to the new songs that came out? Because they got back together in like 2018.
Are you talking about the singles?
Yeah, the new singles that came out.
They're really good.
They are good, yeah. But they feel more in that like trajectory of Coral Fang, how it was like keeps getting toned down a little bit more. Like they don't feel as aggressive.
Well, we're getting old.
As the earlier stuff.
It's
hard
I get it. It's that level of aggression for that many years. I think that's a marker of growth.
I think I heard them.
And there's 2
They played a couple new
songs.
ones in that live. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. There's 2 new songs in the live, and then there's 2 on the single? 2 new ones on the single.
So they're supposed to have a new album like coming out, or it was like 2019. They were like, yeah, we're in the studio recording a new album. Why hasn't this album come out? What's going on? What happened in 2019? So I did a little bit of Googling, and that's when she and Josh Homme split up and went through there.
So that means the new album's going to be really good then.
Yeah. So there may be some new tracks on there that weren't on there.
For my new favorite album.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. That's just how unfortunate. That was weird. I love like Queens of the Stone Age and then Crooked Vultures and Eagles of Death Metal. Maybe that's more of Jesse Hughes thing or whatever. I don't know. But
do you feel like you can't listen to them anymore?
Oh no, I still do. But it sucks to find out he's a piece of shit.
Okay, we have a couple more minutes. What does Brody mean to you? What do the Distillers mean to you?
I don't know. I guess when I think about them, it's just like my literally most nostalgic like thing from my teenage years is Brody, like, and how that made me feel and like helped me like work through my shit because I was just as like angsty and pissed off. So that was like the best thing I could have listened to. And that, like the vague, like abstract kind of just punk music about the whole thing too. That's kind of how I write my music too. So I don't know. I relate on lots of different levels.
If you were going to recommend like a starting point for the Distillers or like somebody that's getting into them for the first time or whatever, is there a particular place that somebody should start, or do you think, I mean, that's only 3 albums, so there's not much, it's not hard to listen to all 3 of them, you know what I mean? But is there something, like if you were going to show somebody, is there somewhere you would start?
I mean, I started with Sing Sing Death House, and I feel like that was a good kind of like middle ground for it. I think you could start I wouldn't start with Coral Fang. Coral Fang's my favorite, but to get like a feel of before Coral Fang, I would say start with either of the other 2 albums.
Do you think there's crossover appeal? Because this was one of my thoughts listening to it. Like, if you like punk rock, you would like this, but I don't know how much appeal there is outside of punk rock enthusiasts. Do you think there is widespread appeal, or do you think they're kind of a niche band that's only gonna?
I personally think there's widespread appeal. I think they're fucking punk rock. Like, and she's such a badass musician, but I feel like everybody else thinks it's a niche thing. And I don't really understand that. I'm like, why? Just because it's not like your average shitty punk rock band.
I agree, but I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like you have to kind of be into punk rock because it is very punk rock. You know, it is very much that style. It doesn't really branch out from that. Okay. Car, thanks for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Good luck on your travels. Let's hear about your bands, any upcoming releases or dates or any of that stuff you want to plug, anywhere people can find your music or interact with you on the internet.
I have an Instagram, Esther Shank Band, and I feel like nobody knows what I'm saying when I say Esther Shank.
Spell it for us.
ESTERSHANK. Esther Shank Band. But yeah, no, we just played our last show the other day at Pegasus City Brewery downtown in Dallas for the next 6 months. So yeah, I'll be out of the country for 6 months. We do plan on trying to set up a tour for when I get back though. So that'll be fun.
Well, safe travels. Good luck. It's been a pleasure talking to you. We haven't had a long conversation in many years.
Yeah, it's been a while. Let's do it again. Thanks for having
me. You're always welcome. Think of a band you want to do maybe for season 2. We'll get you in here again.
I'm in. Let's do it. If Brody ever heard this ever in a world, just I love you.
And that was the Distillers. You may have noticed my sound cut out there at the end, so that's why I kind of dropped off in the convo there, but
yeah, a few technical difficulties, some learning still happening on the fly here with these first steps. Yeah, with these first few episodes.
So you've been listening to the Distillers even more lately, yeah?
Yeah. They, like I said, they have become part of the regular rotation.
She speaks to the more primitive side of me, so I have been listening to a lot of stuff like that recently because of everything that's happening in the world. So yeah, it's very helpful, like Car was talking about in the episode, like helping through the bad times kind of vibe. I kind of hate how much we talked about like her relationships or whatever, but
I do too. I've been feeling guilty about that as well. Like, I think it is part of the
story or whatever.
The story of the band, but as far as her as an artist, it does feel reductive. And I didn't mean to be reductive if it comes off that way, but
well, I think we understand we're talking about this on so many levels, and we kind of try to get a lot of the random nuances here and there, but we can't talk about every single fucking thing. But I do feel like we gave her credit, at least. That's the final word, is even if she is taking influence from these people, she's taking it and then making it fucking better because she's better than them. So women win. Yeah,
who you got for the Wheel of Death?
Okay, so
I have a feeling, well, I'll let, but I think I might know who it is.
I feel like you could guess because around the same time there was a different brand of, it was more of like you said in the episode, Brody was kind of more on the hardcore side of the punk shit that was on out and about at that era. Mm-hmm. And you were more of a pop punk guy. Well, there were a couple, not really very many, but a couple girls on that side of things. Mm-hmm. That was a little bit less what I gravitated towards. That might be a little more excruciating to listen to. And I feel like you know what I'm about to say. I'm going with Avril Lavigne.
Yep. I knew it. As soon about halfway in, I was like, okay, I know exactly who this is going to be. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, interesting pick because I'm only gonna know the ones, Skater Boy and all that stuff, and I'm sure she has a body of work that exists that I haven't heard, and so I'll look at that as a learning opportunity.
I was waiting to see what word you're gonna say there. Yeah, no, this is gonna be funny because I actually had one, like the one Avril Lavigne CD or whatever, like the first one. And she was dating the Sum 41 guy. Like it was a pop punk whole thing.
Cool. Yeah, that,
probably a little
should be funny.
excruciating.
This is like one that might actually end up on the more funny spectrum. Do you know how many albums she has?
No.
10.
Oh, damn. I had no idea. Holy shit.
Yeah, see, there you go.
And she's Canadian, kind of like Alanis. Maybe there's some ties there. They both have long hair. I don't know. Could be a thing. So who's our next band?
We're going to go back in time a little bit. This time back to the 60s. We haven't quite gone this far back in history yet, and listen to all of the albums by Sly and the Family Stone.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, I mean, from what I know of them, it is fun. I'm hoping that this one is kind of
I bet it's going to be groovy.
A breezy, groovy, good time. I know that there's a lot to know about them, and I'm really excited to dig into it.
Fuck yeah, let's do it.
Sly and the Family Stone coming up in a couple of weeks. You got any words of wisdom on the way out?
Check us out on social media at Retrospectrum Pod.
Oh yeah, we're still on Patreon too. If you want to help us, eat and pay our bills.
Yeah, as if.
See you next time.